to the team that is flying at the moment. That man in the number 7 jersey, he has re-signed for another year. So congratulations to Sean Johnson. He will be a Warrior in 2024 after knocking back the Tigers earlier this year. But you've got Shans Nickel-Klogstack, Dallin Watine-Zelezniak, Rocco Berry, Adam Pompey, Marcelo Montoya, Luke Metcalf, the man we just mentioned, Sean Johnson, Adam Fanua-Blake, Wade Egan, Mitchell Barnett, Jackson Ford, Josh Curran, and Tohu Harris wrapping up the lock position with Freddie Lassick, Bailey Sorinen, Tom Alley, and Dylan Walker on the bench. 18th man, Kalani gone with the extended bench of Ronald Vogtman, Tane Tuapaliki, Zion Mayu, and Viliami Vae. So this is a team that, and I'm going to find it for you. Someone asked me on Twitter, and it is a Warriors fan, and she put up a post, and it was pretty much non-Warriors fans, where do you think that we can finish this year? And I just want to read my response that I did write to that. And I said,
top eight.
Well, I said, arguably for the Warriors, I see them finishing in the 5 to 8 range. They have 2 tough games coming up next. However, both are at home, which is a positive. They then have a bye. They then also play the Tigers, Manly, and the Dragons. So you'd think 2, if not all 3 of those are wins, plus the bye locks them into that top 8. I said, for me, I think they get past the first week of finals. The second week of finals will be dependent on if it's a home final or an away final. But like I said, they are bloody exciting, and I hope they give it a real shake-up come finals. So I guess, What do you make of those comments of what I did tweet, and then what do you make of this Warriors side? Because I want to say no one gave them a chance, but we always try and hype them up at the start of the year, but they finally hit that hype. So could this be the Warriors putting in a decent crack and going into those final few games? They're going to be pushing for that top 4, or do you think that 5 to 8 range is more realistic?
No, I top 8. I'm not saying top 4. It's been good by Andrew Webster, not the reporter, the ex-assistant coach from Penrith, who's now
back. It's back.
The joke's back. The joke is back. Yes, had to be in court for that one, but nonetheless, I think a new voice, an outside Warrior or outside New Zealand Warrior voice was the reasoning to sort of move forward, and then struck a luck. You got Sean Johnson playing like his earlier career form, and also you get Luke Metcalf, who, if you didn't know this is a battle between him and Matt Moylan, because Luke was, for the fans who don't know, was a ex-Cronulla player, and the Sharks only had money to sign one player for extension. It was either Luke or Matt Moylan, but they end up going with Matt Moylan. So this is a sort of not a revenge match, but a match that Luke always puts down in his calendar and gets out the red texter and circles it. But for people who did forget, the Warriors did go over to Shark Park and win that game in extra time in the wet conditions over there. So, man, oh man, this squad has been good. The addition of Charles Nickel-Klogstack at fullback, the ex-Raider, has been terrific as well. I don't know if Blake, the man has gone under the radar since leaving Manly over there. The media's off his back. He's playing some great football. Excuse me. Mitchell Barnett is not charging out of the line and clotheslining players from hell out at Bathurst from his days at Newcastle. He's playing some terrific football again. Josh Curran, Jackson Ford, Tohu Harris, also playing some career best form. Dylan Walker as well, the addition with his experience, a premiership winning experience. Dylan Walker added to the squad as well. And it just seems to all come together, and that's why I've put him in the 5 to 8, top 8 position for the end of the year. And, mate, I don't think it's theirs to lose. I see them at least going second, if not third week of the finals. I don't see him making a grand final because there's too many there's too many big boys out there, aka Brisbane Broncos, Penrith, Storm. So there's 3 teams trying to compete for 2 spots. You chuck my boys in there, there's 4 teams trying to compete for 2 spots. But I think the Warriors' second, if not third week of the finals, they'll get knocked out, and it will be a plus, and the extra plus is for flavour on my report card.
Yeah, like you said, there is a lot of teams fighting for that grand final, and I guess you've got to chuck in their opponents in this game. The Cronulla Sharks, a team that is trying to fight for that position. They have the reigning Dally M, and by all accounts, he's probably going to go close to winning that again. So we'll see how that one goes. But obviously, keep an eye on this team list as it gets closer to the day, because Sean Johnson's wife is expecting a baby now. He is back home, but if she was to have it on that day,
Bless you.
If she was to have it on that day, who knows? He might have to miss that game. So keep an eye on that one. But Baxter, I'll throw it across to you. Talk to me about this Cronulla Sharks side.
Yeah, Will Kennedy, Tone Katoa, Jesse Ramian, Sefer Talakai, Ronaldo Mulatalo to make out the back 5. Matt Moylan Hines to the halves. Oregon Gafusi, Blake Brayley, Tody Rudolph, the man with no hair at the moment. Britton Nakora, Teg Wilton, and Cameron McInnes to round out the front row pack position. Wade Graham, Thomas Hazelton, Jack Williams, Jesse, I'm just going to call you Jesse C, Connor Tracy, K.I., Brandon Hume-Welly, Burr, Aiden Trindle, with your spelling, Tuku Taka Tupu, in the extended bench, Nate. How many more? I don't know if you got this mail in front of you, but do you know how many more weeks until Dale Funakane makes his return from his injury? As I ramble on, you could look it up for me. It's not a big worry, but that's another big name player for the Cronulla Sharks that they are missing, that will come back into the squad, that will help them push on to the rest of the year. Before I go into their squad, I'm just going to run through you guys their run home to the end of the season. Obviously, they've got the Warriors away, then you're at home to Manly, then you're away to Penrith, you're away to in Perth to the South Sydney Rabbitohs, then you're at home to the Titans, you're away to the Cowboys, where we're going to look to right the wrongs of earlier this year. Then you're away at Newcastle, then you're at home for the last match day of the round.
This will be the
against the Raiders.
Second of 2 weeks of his suspension.
Okay, so he's suspended, not injured, which is a good thing. So he'll be training the house down, making his ready to make his return for that Sunday appearance against Manly at home. So again, as I said, he's a big addition to come back into a squad where you will see Cameron McInnes, I think, will drop to the bench. Wade Graham, the man who was really impressive as a young kid, who's also on the bench. He's a big name player. Tony Rudolph makes his return back to this squad. As I said, the man with no hair, the man who was a rugby union player. Mum thought he was playing league. Wrong code, mate. But nonetheless, he's in there. Again, I will touch it. If you haven't listened to it, listen to Hello Sport podcast, guys, because I do talk with Tony Rudolph about his Scots days, his early days of being a young kid. It's a great listen. Get around it, because I think he's one of those characters of the game that we love to see. Him, Brendan Smith, Cameron Munster, Harry Grant, all those larrikins. You love to see him in the game. But if you've got some time, listen to us first, then go to that podcast first. We're more important than them. So nonetheless, we talked about at the start, I think it was in the Tigers game, but at the start of this podcast, we talked about, can Cronulla beat a top 8 side this year? Now, you could say, yes, Parramatta are a top 8 side. They beat them early on this season. At the time, they weren't a top 8 side. So are they 1 and whatever for this, or are they 0 or never beating a top 8 side? And now currently with the Warriors being a top 8 side, will they put pull the monkey off their back and get 2 points this game. I say no. I have the Warriors winning at 13 plus at home. They need to make a statement. They are going to push through this game and show who's boss, especially Luke Metcalf is going to put on a masterclass, especially with, I'm going to say, 3 try assists and a field goal to round out my 13 plus.
I'm going to go a bit more reserved. I'm going to go to Warriors. I'm going to go to 12. And the reasoning is I want to be cautious if Sean Johnson is ruled out of this game. I still think they have enough talent to win. However,
he'll play.
I do look at this Shark side, though, and I say if you looked at the Origin game last night, they're sitting third. They do not have one player representing in that fin. So I do say that does help them. There's been no disruptions in this side over the last couple of weeks. They've been able to have a full week of training under their belt, and they're able to now put on a bit of a clinic this weekend. But I do think in Auckland, in front of obviously their own fans, I think the Warriors have too much. You're going to have a man over there with his face paint on, the Joker. He looks absolutely brilliant every week when he is on TV. You're going to have Shuey Woods doing shoeys in front of the coach's box. He's going to tip his beer into his shoe and have a little bit of a drink in front of the coach's box. So he'll G up the crowd a little bit, and I think they do get the job done.
Love that.
So you've obviously gone 13 plus. I have gone 1 to 12. We're both on board that we think the Warriors do get the job done here. And if you are a Warriors fan that has stuck through the hard times, give yourself a clap because you're finally getting the reward you do deserve.
I'm giving you a clap for you.
Well,
you deserve
when
it.
you think about it, they've had some rough years. They then went through COVID, but they didn't get to see their team play. So I'm really happy for this side, and I'm really happy for the fans that are getting to watch some entertaining football in New Zealand. But